Good morning. Welcome to our Rose Whispers Sew Along. We have a great quilt all ready for you to show you how to make. It's beautiful. There's 12 blocks in it. They're 12-inch finished size blocks. They're all made out of that beautiful fabric called Rose Whispers. Roses everywhere. It looks very spring-like. Rose gardens right here. Oh, the beautiful pinks. There's turquoise. There's a rose fence right here. There's rose bushes. It's all roses. Fantastic. And then it's set together simply with lattice and cornerstones. The quilting in it is absolutely terrific. Amy Potter did it, and you can see the stencil is repeated in the center of each block, and then the lattice has these beautiful waves with circles in them. They join right in the cornerstones. A little rose fussy cut right there. Very, very pretty, finished off with a stripe binding around the outside edge. Well, if you don't want to do Rose Whispers, I can't imagine, how about picking solid colors? These are all made from fat quarters, so you can put it together. And now look at the quilting on this one. You can definitely see it. Here's the one stencil in the center of the block, and then the lattice has crisscross stitching lines throughout. Beautiful. Well, I want to take a look, show you the whole line. You can just, oh, so good to touch. The fabric is wonderful. This is the whole line of Rose Whispers fabric. You can get it in fat quarters. You can get it in strips, in squares, 2 sizes of squares. And I'll show you right here. This is all you need. You need to have 14 1/4 yard pieces or 10 1/8 yard pieces. How about stripe for the binding and piece of backing, and you're set. So I want to show you the first block. It's called Square in a Square. Very easy. So even if you've never made a quilt before, I think you can do this one. This is what the block looks like. There are 2 square in a square blocks and then just 2 solid squares. These are the measurements that you need. This is the square right in the middle. It's 4 3/4 inches. You need 2 of them. These are the triangles and the sky blue that surround. You need 4 4.5-inch squares. And then the setting squares, 2 of them are 6.5 inches square. So get some tools. We'll be using the double square up ruler like this one and a 6.5-inch fussy cut ruler. So get your tools ready and I'll show you where to start. Right now we're going to take our blue skies and just cut them in half on one diagonal. You have 4 of them, so you can go ahead and layer cut. Use the straight side along one edge, line it up at the corner, zip across, and you've got it all done. Okay, now you're going to take the center, 4 3/4 inch squares, and flip the triangles right sides together. Now make sure that you line up the edges and just have equal corners on both sides, equal points on both sides. And then zoop, just sew along. I'm using my magical red thread, and like that, ta-da! There they are. They're equally sticking out. Set the seam, open, and press. Press towards the triangle. And then take the ruler again. We can line it up with the sides along here. Trim off the little tips on both sides. And I don't think these are big enough to save. Let's just get rid of these. And then once you have 2 sides on, you're going to just take more triangles. So now you need to have 2 more triangles and place them right sides together, and you have like just enough for 1/4 inch on both sides. put them on there, line them up, sew along, and there we go. Okay, hanging out in the ends on all 4 places, open them, press the seams toward the triangle. Okay, now is the time for the squaring up. So I'm just going to lift this and move this over, pull in my tool that's going to just swing around. The 6.5 inch square up ruler, and you can see that it has these lines right along here on all 4 corners, plus a 1/4 inch seam around the outside edge. So when you place it on your ruler, get all those corners lined up like this. Perfect. Hold it down tight. Trim on 2 sides. Swing your mat around and do the last 2 sides. Perfect. Okay, so even if you start out in the beginning and it's looking a little crooked, you make it completely straight in the end. So now let's just take these pieces. We have 2 of them all completely squared up. Now we need the 2 setting squares, the 6.5 inch. And you're going to sew straight down along here. So flip them right sides together and just sew continuously from one to the next. And then don't clip this stitch in the center, open them up, and now you're going to do the opposite way. And I'm just going to grab this one and show you what it looks like when you're going the opposite way. The directions say to match it in the middle and push the top seam up, and this is the underneath seam, and that's so you reduce the bulk. If you lock these seams, then you don't have all that bulk in there. And then take your stiletto and unsew these stitches right along here. There's stitches there. There are about 3 of them. Just zip them out on the top side and then turn it over on the bottom side. Unsew the stitches, and that's so that we could swirl this. Open it up into a 4 patch in the middle, and then you just swirl your seams right around there. That way, whenever you're stitching through it, there's no bulk, you won't break your needle, and you can put your block in the quilt.